And when that ship passed, an end was come in Middle-earth of the Fellowship of the Ring.
I fell in love with The Lord of the Rings first through the movies, and I always watched them with my dad. It was just a really awesome bonding experience for us, but he'd read the books as a kid, and so we would talk a lot about the differences between the books and the movies. The difference that surprised me the most was the hobbits going back to the Shire and there being an entire battle there. It's taken me several tries to get through The Lord of the Rings, and finally I've gotten through the entire series, but now I'm left with one question. Does Lord of the Rings even need the Battle of the Shire? Let's chat. After defeating Sauron, the hobbits return to the Shire and find that Saruman has, after being defeated, come to take over the Shire. And the Battle of the Shire is where these four hobbits stand up to Saruman and say, "Not the Shire. You can't have it." Now, the question is, does Lord of the Rings need the Battle of the Shire? It's not as epic as the rest of the series, however, it showcases our Hobbit characters in a way that the rest of the book doesn't. We see them not compared to these great kings and wizards, but compared to other hobbits. When they left, they were normal everyday hobbits. Now they are conquering hero hobbits. And the difference is amazing. It really completes their arc as characters. It also gives Frodo a chance to redeem himself after the fiasco with the ring. We see him for really the first time in the entire series without the influence of Sauron. And I say yes, it is needed in the books. But does the movie need it? In my opinion, the movie makes some very subtle changes that makes the Hobbit's character arc complete without the Battle of the Shire. However, a lot of people complain about the Frodo and Sam part of Return of the King. I think they could have cut down the Sam and Frodo part of the Return of the King and maybe use some of that extra leftover time to put in the Battle of the Shire. However, as an addition, I don't think that it would have worked because the Return of the King is already notorious for having 100 endings, and it just really honestly isn't necessary. Let me know what you guys think. Does Lord of the Rings need the Battle of the Shire? The rest of the book follows the same pattern as the movies, where we start to see where the different characters are going. We see Frodo and Bilbo go off to the west, and we find out what happened to the other characters now that the story is over. I loved the chance to say goodbye to these characters. It's not something that we get with a lot of stories. In our age of commercialism, it's not a chance that we often get because they want to leave it open in case they want to write more. And I get it, but just being able to say goodbye, I seriously had more chills and more feels during this section of the story than I did in any other part. It was amazing. The addition they should have made was a montage of all the characters played to 1,000 years. That's the fix that Return of the King really needed.
I have died.